I thought Jane was the most challenging game. It was like the one I had to play the most. I liked playing Silver Tongue, even though she scared me.
We're excited to invite you to stage Diane Guerrero! How are you? You look lovely. How are you doing?
Goodness, I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, today's been a lovely day.
Are you a frequent visitor of Washington, D.C.? My first time, actually, so how about you?
Oh, it's your first time?
Yeah.
This place is awesome.
I've seen about 4 walls of it.
Yeah, you're not going to see much of it. Well, you see the people of D.C. here, which is good.
Yes, they're wonderful. D.C. fans, you guys are awesome and amazing, so...
I studied here for a semester at American University.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Fun times.
Yeah, what did you study?
I studied political science. Yeah, and I was doing international relations, foreign policy here. I was studying foreign policy.
Okay, so we usually do kick off our time with the panel asking them, like, when they were kids and growing up in school, and did you have initial aspirations of going into politics, or what was the...
No, I wanted to be a singer and a dancer. I wanted to tap. No, but I had a lot of interest in high school. Music was a huge passion of mine, and then I thought I was like, journalism could be fun. I still wanted to tell stories, and I thought, how do I tell stories and talk about history, which was like my favorite things. And then one of my teachers was like, you have to do politics. He was Mexican. And so I was like, okay. He's like, you have to study politics if you want to be a good journalist. And I said, okay. And so I came here, and while I was in school, I came here. It was really great. I think it influenced a lot of my life. And so I'm grateful to it, for sure.
When did the entertainment bug sort of bite you? When was that? At what point?
Oh, well, always, right? And then I think, the classes started getting harder. There was a lot of reading, and I'm like, okay, but I'm not tapping. There's not a lot of tapping here, which is what I wanted to do. And then I think when I was done with college, I actually did it as a help with my mental health, because I was like really longing to I wasn't doing any arts at the time, and then so I just started taking basic acting classes, because I always wanted to do that, and then my joy grew as I did that, and so I'm like, okay, I think I want to try doing this for a living. Yeah.
So you mentioned tap. Like, are you serious? Like, you were like hardcore?
No, I'm not a good tap dancer. Not at all. No, I just meant it's like
entertaining.
It's kind of like it's a metaphor for like kind of how I felt at that time. It's just, my soul really wanted to be seen. Someone described it like that, like, and I love to imitate. So I mean, I don't know. I think I saw like Dot on the Animaniacs, and I was like obsessed with her. Not that she tapped. I mean, she did everything. But yeah, I love to express myself. Yeah.
So you and I kind of share a couple things in common. My parents are Korean, of course, immigrated here from Korea, then I was born. Your parents are Colombian.
Yeah.
And you're also the first American born in your family as well.
Yeah.
And so, with that comes like such a weird, you're stuck in like, a couple different worlds, because I was always translating for my parents and having to, just kind of help them navigate through the world and
at a very young age.
Yeah, very young age, right? And so you have to grow up really quickly.
Right.
And so, and my parents had a lot of expectation that, of course, as Asian Americans, they want me to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I profoundly disappointed them in that aspect. But what was for you growing up, what was there pressure as far as growing up with Colombian parents? Like, what were they wanting you to become versus becoming an entertainer?
I think that what I learned from an early age was just like their emphasis about community. Community was a big thing in my household, and we were in in a beautiful community, the immigrant community where I grew up in Boston. And what I just saw was that my mom always like opening her doors for people and like trying to help out. And, you know, if people needed work, you know, help them try to find work or like education or whatever. And I saw my mom do that. So like that was kind of, and you know, sometimes that can have a lot of, that can be a lot of pressure because, you know, I grew up with this sort of mentality that you had to help everyone. And so when you don't and you can't, and then you kind of have that struggle with yourself. And it's like, I can't do everything. It's like, no, that's not kind of what that was supposed to teach me, I know. I think it's just like, do what you can and care. And so I grew up with that.
And then what did they think about when you started pursuing acting, and what did they think about that?
Oh, they loved it. I think they were very surprised when I was like, I'm going to go study political science.
Oh.
Yeah, they were just like, okay, we've seen you play a secretary. Like, you know, I had a little desk and like my little pen, and then I always used to like, you know, play like a tax accountant or something like that. I don't know anything about money now, so obviously it was just probably like play pretend, which is why my parents were like, why are you doing political science? But yeah, they got it.
Well, you know, being at a Comic-Con, it's of course, as you've encountered, like it's fans upon fans upon fans of all sorts of crazy things. When you were younger growing up, were you a fan of anything in particular? Like
everything. Everything.
Yeah.
I just like fell in love with I just love storytelling. I love to be transported, right? That's why a lot of us like flock to the arts and like are so inspired, because we can transcend to any moment. We can use our imaginations, you know. That's kind of like where I wanted to live. You know, that's kind of what made me happy.
So making that jump into acting and entertainment, how did you do that? Like, what was that first initial step, or maybe that first audition or role? Like, what did you have to do to kind of take that leap?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I did was like, I just started taking classes. And so through there, you kind of get to meet people who are doing the same thing. And so I found community in there. And so I loved it. I found like really encouraging friends. You know, I had this one friend who would go, Diane, you don't got to worry about a thing. You're the cream. And guess what? The cream always rises to the top. And I like love this saying, you know, when I would be like, I'm not going to go for that audition. Come on, look at all those other people. They're way better. And I say, Diane, come on. And so I found a great community there. And then from there, I went on Craigslist. Back then, you used to go on Craigslist. Don't go on Craigslist now. I don't think it's a thing. But some of us used to find work through there. Some was sketchy work, yes, but it was like, you know, it got weird. Anyway, but there were some cool things, sorry. There were some cool aspects, which is if you went to the arts and entertainment section, now you got to be very discerning here on those, okay? You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, especially about the photographer guys.
Yeah, stay away from those, unless you need to sell your shoes in Norway to someone who wants your shoes. Okay, yes, I did that. To try a few of those. Anyway, so I went there and I saw like anything that was shooting in Boston, you know, or any auditions in Boston, and I would just go try out. So like people who were making music videos, and I was a vampire in one of the music videos. I was like, hell yeah, this is fun. And then I played another vampire for this like diamond cleaner commercial. That was fun. And so I was like, you know, I did those 2 gigs and I was like, I'm ready for the big time, baby. Get out of my way. You know, and so I really liked that process. And every time I had an opportunity, whether it was like a work, you know, one of those like work videos that people see when they like apply to a job.
Like a training video?
A training video. Whether it was like a training video that I got, or, you know, somebody in the neighborhood, you know, making a scary movie in their backyard. Or my first gig, which was, sorry, this is a long answer. My first gig, which was Body of Proof, I ran over a dead body. No lines, but I ran over a dead body. I lied, too. I said I could drive. I had no license. But I figured I was running over a dead body, so, you know, what was the harm?
It couldn't get any worse.
Yeah, exactly.
We do have a couple of microphones over here, so if you got a question, start lighting up. I'm going to hit some more questions, and then I'll get to you guys when I have a chance. So we got to talk about such a, I mean, you know, in the comics world, there is like, everything's a little bit weird, and then there's like weird, and then you got like Doom Patrol.
Right.
All right? You got,
And I love it, it's like, what kind of weird is it?
Yeah.
And somebody goes, Doom Patrol, like, I get it.
It's like Doom Patrol weird, right? Such a creative, such a brilliant show. Tell us how that role came about and what that experience has been like.
Oh my gosh, like the experience of a lifetime. I feel so blessed that I got to play Crazy Jane. Yeah, like life-changing role for me. I love people who watch it. I love people who understand it. I felt seen, you know, really. Just in the role, like this, you know, feeling like an outsider, feeling like you didn't belong, you know, all of that subject matter was very near and dear to me because I was still sort of feeling like that. And, you know, so I wanted to play that, but like with superpowers. And it was like really, really cool. I learned a lot. And yeah, to this day, like the best thing that I've ever done.
Especially in this era where the topic of mental health is kind of in the forefront now, and being able to play a character that's, you know, you've got like all these different personalities, and I'm sure it's extremely challenging as an actor to just sort of like having to inhabit all these different, you know,
yeah, I mean, the first time I had tried something, I know
we got a friend up here on stage trying to.
Little babe,
yeah.
like
The
later, I'm
yeah,
like on stage. It's my boyfriend, the Fly. Love him. He's a little clingy. Where was I?
Playing the character.
Playing the character. Yeah, my first experience with kind of like doing, kind of like, or thinking about like changing into different people. I think I watched like an episode of like Full House or something, and that the character Joey like did this like Wizard of Oz thing all at once. Like he played Dorothy, then he played the Cowardly Lion, then he did Tin Man, and then he, you know. And so I remember he did it like all at once, and I was like, that's super cool. So I would like practice that as a kid. And also I would try to freak my mom out. Like I'd be like happy, and then I'd be upset, and then I'd be like, you know, doing just crazy stuff, and she would just tell me I was annoying. But like that was like one of the things that I always wanted to do and challenge myself with. But mental health is important to me, you know, because, and through this character too, I mean, I kind of sorted out a lot of feelings that I had, you know, like especially like anger. I didn't realize that I was so attached to anger. I mean, when I started to play the character, that's kind of like how I realized that it was something that I needed to shed. But like, you know, thank you, Doom Patrol, for that. Thank you, Jane. Yeah.
Another show that has been just groundbreaking and really ahead of its time is Orange is the New Black. And you played Maritza on that show, and I mean, there's just no other show that's like it, right? I mean, women in prison and just the drama behind that. And but when I watch it, I'm like, it seems like such an oppressive and like scary environment, but what was it really like behind the scenes as you guys are shooting that show, and what was that experience like?
Maybe like day camp. It was like day camp. Like I went to a lot of day camps in my day. You know, my parents would just drop me off, and I'd be there, and we'd have like the same thing, like all the cafeterias and the cliques, and you just have fun, you know, different activities throughout the day. It was a great experience. I mean, it's great television. When I watch it now, I'm like, I can't believe that we were a part of that and we got to tell those stories. And it was so honest and like rooted in so much truth. And I thought it was so experimental, and I love that Genji Cohen, you know, was a creator of it, because I was a huge fan of Weeds. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and being with a lot of women. I went to also an all-women's college, like, so yeah, there you go. Somebody went to it. Yeah.
I think as a dude, I was like, yeah, all women's college.
No, you guys weren't let in. It was all women's. It was all women's Catholic college, and yeah, it kind of reminded me of that kind of setting. And I've always liked to be around like a huge group of women. It was really interesting.
Was there anyone particular on the cast that you were, that you really just your BFF or your?
My BFF?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had lots of BFFs.
Yeah.
Right now I can think, of course, Jackie Cruz, who like played Flaca, who was like my D to my Tweedle, or my D to my Tweedle. I don't know. You get it, Tweedledee, Tweedledum. My dumb to my Tweedledee. Yeah, we'll see. We'll work on it. But her and Dasha Polanco, who played Dayanara, yeah, I really got close to those girls. But really, the whole group has been just a group of very special people to me.
Well, tell us about a very special role playing Isabella in Encanto. Again, being a minority and just like being able to see myself represented on screen, especially not just myself, but then a whole community on screen. It's very powerful. When I saw things like Crazy Rich Asians or whatever like this, to see like not just a single character, but to see an entire cast represented, it was life-changing, And so, and when I first saw Encanto, I thought, oh my gosh, like this is what a wonderful, opportunity and experience. And I know that I've had many of my friends have just been so impacted by that. So tell us about how that role came about and just sort of how did, the character Isabella, how did it form?
Right. Well, I've always wanted to be in a Disney movie, and I've always wanted to sing a Disney song because I grew up with Disney, and I was a huge fan. And I went to an arts high school, which is where I studied music, and then I decided that I just wasn't good enough. I was just like, I'm not going to do music anymore. That's when I was like, I'm going to do political science. You know what I mean? And then political science like, we don't want you. You need to go back to that singing thing that you tried a while ago. And so the opportunity came. I was actually at an award show, the Imagen Awards, so which is these awards for Latin artists, and we all kind of get together and appreciate our work. It's a nice time. And I was giving a speech, and then, I kind of like sang like a little, ditty. It's part of my act. I gotta let everybody know, all of my talents. So I did that, and there was a producer there from Disney, and Yvette Marino, and she heard me sing, and I guess, it was just like in that time where in Back to the Future when, they hear that sound, right? And they're like, that sound you've been looking for. No, she saw me and she was like, I think she'd be, we should audition her for the movie. And I think that's how it started. But like, it was a moment where I was on stage and I decided to share that because like in some way I'm like, I want somebody to know that I do this, and if anyone wants to collaborate with me and work on something that I really love, and that's kind of like how we share things about ourselves. And that was a moment where I did, and it really came to life in a beautiful way.
I mean, to be in a Disney film, I mean, was it intimidating? Were you like, did you feel the pressure while you're doing it? I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, it was very scary.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, you start getting all of those feelings that, like, you try to, when you start healing, you start thinking, okay, this is not why I'm doing this. But immediately you get an opportunity like that, and you want to be great or perfect, or you want to be liked. And, like, all of these things just kind of make the process so much more heavy than it needs to be, But eventually, of course, I felt comfortable enough to experience joy while I was, performing and working with these amazing, talented people who cared so much about this story and cared so much about doing it right down to the last little empanada. It was like really cute.
Was there a particular moment in that film of yours that you felt like is kind of your favorite or something that you really have fond memories of?
In the film?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, well, I love when I think Mirabelle is hilarious. I love when she's like, looking for the pieces of glass, and she's like entering Bruno's lair. I think that's an incredible moment. And then I guess from my character, I would say, when she finally, when she sings "What Else Can I Do" in her room and she just explodes. That's kind of how I felt like myself. You know, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. Is I want to break from perfection, and from, you know, from doing things to please just to please others. You know, and so that was like a great moment for me.
Well, we have some questions here. Let's go. Let's start over here. Let us know your name and how many awesome cons you've been to, and then give us your question.
Hi, I'm Anne, third year of AwesomeCon.
All right.
I don't remember. My question is, what do you think would happen if Isabella met Jane's personalities?
Oh my gosh, I don't know about those two worlds together. What would Isabella do? I mean, I think Isabella in her like new, kind of like more adventurous phase might get along with Jane, but I don't know. That's a hard combo. Maybe Jane after fourth season, maybe. Not before. Thank you.
All right, over here. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Margaret. This is my first AwesomeCon.
Welcome.
Hi. And I was just wondering, what was your process like coming up with each of Jane's personalities? Was it sort of like a solo thing that you're working on, or did you work with the crew to kind of discover how to make all of those unique?
Well, I mean, I talked to the director a lot, and Jeremy Carver, the creator of the show, and I just read a lot of the comic books, and the good thing about Jane is there was just like so much material out there already, you know, written about her, and so I was able to draw from that. But I worked with an acting coach. You know, it was like really important to me to just have someone to bounce ideas off of. You know, I was terrified. You know, I really wanted to do a good job, and I wanted to represent the DID community well, and like, and I also wanted to make every personality different. You know, and so I like listened to music. You know, I wrote in their, you know, on their diaries. I did my best, and then I just tried to sort of like feel the moment. A lot of it was like movement too, right? Like when you play characters, you want to make sure that their body feels like that character, and I think that made it easier to make them each distinct. But yeah.
Was there, to follow up that, is there a particular character that you like to play the most, and then maybe what was one that was like the most challenging, like you just felt like it's hard to connect with or hard to make?
I thought Jane was the most challenging. It was like the one I had to play the most. I liked playing Silvertongue, even though she scared me, because she was just a version of myself that was like, I don't know, just kind of intense. Yeah.
Right on. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, please go ahead.
Sure. Hi, I'm James, and this is Alexander.
Hi.
And I'm going to try and stop him from getting to the mic. He may try to sing, which actually ties directly to my question.
Beautiful.
Encanto was his first movie, and Doom Patrol was my favorite show. What's it like to inspire people, and then particularly to teach them about music in the way that you've gotten to? And will we hear you sing again? Maybe a couple of bars now.
Wow, I love it. You know, I love animation so much, and I love, hi.
Yeah, the real one's over there.
And I love music, and how powerful it was for me growing up. And for me, it's almost, I mean, it's a necessity. And so to get to do this in my work is incredibly important for me, and really shows me that what I manifested, what I really wanted, if I just continue to, you know, scrounge up belief in myself enough, that I was always going to see the benefit of that. And that is to connect with children and people, and bring happiness to people's lives, and to have a discussion about what we're all made of. I couldn't be prouder of the way things have turned out and the projects that have entered my life. So good, yeah. I feel good about that.
We're not going to make you sing on the spot, but do you have any singing projects that's you could in the future that's you could share?
At the moment, I'm experimenting with songwriting.
Oh, great. Okay.
And so, I mean, I don't know where that's going to go, but right now, it's been an amazing creative outlet for me, and it all started with Encanto. Like, getting to get in touch with music again has been, like I said, a lifesaver, but also now is proving to just give me all sorts of hope and like just see a new side of myself. So yes, there will be music. I don't know in which capacity, but yeah, I'm gonna sing. I want to sing forever. That's something that I want.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's go over here. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Alexandra, and this is my 9th Awesome Con.
All right.
Way to go.
Thanks. I was wondering, what are your favorite memories from being on Jane the Virgin?
Wow, Jane the Virgin, my favorite memory. Oh my gosh, there's so many. That show represented so much for me because like my first time going to Los Angeles to try out for a show, and it was just beautiful, like getting to see all the lots and like this place that was sort of like just in my head, and also kind of I just got to meet so many incredible people, and it was just such a fun show. Yeah, I honestly, getting there was like the best thing ever. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I get to do this. It was like early on in my career, and I was working with incredible people, so yeah.
Well, it could not be any farther from Boston, and so did it feel like when you were auditioning, I mean, did it feel like, oh, I have a good shot at this, or did it just feel like this is impossible, they'll never pick me? I mean, what was that like as far as getting that role?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, first Orange is the New Black, and I didn't even know what that was gonna be, They said it was gonna be a web series, and at the time, like, web series were just like, I don't know, you kind of just like went into the internet, clicked. There were some great web series out there, but I just didn't think it was like gonna be. I was just happy to be working like at that time. I mean, I was sending my shoes to Norway, so I had to do something. So then this was just like that was an example of how a job in New York, and like next, near the theater, and there's just like a different environment there. And then with Jane the Virgin going out to Los Angeles, it was just such a great learning experience. Like I really needed to see all of those things and kind of experience how things worked at that very scary place. And now, of course, it's like changing, and it's looking different every day. And so, I'm happy that I got to sort of experience like kind of like the old-timey way still, that was like the last legs of it.
Or you could like TikTok your way and
Exactly, when you just had to go to Paramount Pictures and be like, the pictures, I'm here, hey, hire me, please, I felt very much like that. I thought I was like, I felt like Roger Rabbit, It's great.
All right, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Alex. My pronouns are he, him, and gosh, this is hard. I'm currently in a situationship with someone with DID.
DID? It's okay.
You're doing great.
You're doing great.
And I wanted to know what would be the best way to help my future partner.
Yeah, that is so lovely and considerate. how I would approach it, and I guess for me, how I would do it, would just to research as much as possible about what DID is, and maybe find like a community online, maybe a support group where you can learn about it, and have a safe space to talk about it. I would say that, and then there's wonderful books. I would say do as much research as you can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think definitely finding, connecting with others who also have partners with DID, and just kind of finding that sort of support would definitely be helpful. So thank you so much, and thank you for sharing that. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sully. This is my first AwesomeCon.
Welcome.
And I have another crossover question for you. If Jane found herself in the world of Encanto and was taken in by the Madrigals, which personality do you think would want to surface the most and try to integrate into the family?
Oh my gosh. Baby doll, for sure. She'd want to play. She'd just want to play all day in that Madrigal house with all the kids. For sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Can you imagine like Chainsaw Nun?
There you go. Now we're getting interesting. So.
It get really weird in Encanto land.
As you say that, someone's going to make a web series on just about that. All right, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Omari. This is my 5th AwesomeCon. And talking about crazy experiences as an actor, I just wanted to ask if you could talk about your experience on the Eric Andre show.
Oh. Yes, I still have nightmares. No, that was actually a lot of fun. Again, like an absurdist world, right? And it's funny because I actually wasn't at all shocked. I was shocked, but at the same time, I was like so game, and ready to play. I just didn't know. It was so improvisational that I was like, do I do more? Like, what do I, and I think it was just kind of like let things happen. Yeah, that was fun. It was my first introduction into that kind of absurdist art, which I thought was pretty cool. And to this day, best facial expressions that I've ever had on TV. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, you've already, even at a young age, you've already played like a lot of diverse types of roles, and you've got this long career ahead of you. Is there something that you kind of, a character or a role that you would like to sort of pursue? Like, what's something that's, on the bucket list that you would like to?
On my bucket list, I guess I'm just ready to play, just some regular old people. I don't know. It's so funny. I just got this audition, right? And so it's like, hey, they really want to see you for this, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm excited. I'm out of work. Or no, at the moment I'm not shooting Doom Patrol because the story is bad, and so that's why. So I look and I read the role of the lead, and it's this normal girl, and it's a horror flick, and I'm like, okay, oh, but that role is taken, and who do they want me to play? Her dead mother. I said, God, I knew the zombie episode was gonna be a problem for me, because and so yeah, I'm still getting a lot of we want you to be a witch, oozing. It was the description was just she was oozing in a pile of I don't know what, but it was spooky. But I was yeah, I'm trying to play the other girl, the girl who's alive. Since I played a lot of that kind of stuff on Doom Patrol. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of a normie human role.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we just have a couple minutes left, so go ahead. Hi.
My name is Reagan, and this is my first AwesomeCon.
Yeah.
Hi. And my question is, why did you start to like tap dancing?
Oh, yeah. Why did I stop? Why? Well, I mean, there's still time for me.
No, why did you start like in tap dancing?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why don't I start?
Like,
Why did I start?
yeah.
You know what? I saw an episode of The Simpsons when Lisa gets tap shoes. And then in her training, all she had to do was tappa, tappa, tappa. And so I just saw how fun that was. And and then I saw, like, you know, just a lot of examples of people in show business, you know. And the tap shoe for me represents entertainment. So that's why I started.
Do you tap dance?
I used to when I was really little.
Back years ago, back when you were little? Not too late for you either.
Are you gonna pick it back up again?
I don't know.
Okay, well, what are you interested in now?
Anime.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Love
Just
it.
keeping our options open.
Yeah,
So, you know,
I get it, I get it. Very
She
nice.
just wanted to get typecast into one thing. So.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Luisa. This is my first Awesome Con.
Welcome.
I just wanted to ask you how you felt when you were doing your voice acting for Encanto and like finally having, Colombian by the way.
Oh,
Hi. And finally having like that part on screen portraying Colombians in a good light.
Oh, yeah, that was really awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep saying, I'm like, how does this, you know, for years I was thinking about that, you know, well, gosh, we don't have any, you know, good representation of Colombia, and like, you know, with enough like negative comments on like when you know, when you say where you're from or your parents are from, and then the first thing that people kind of say is derogatory or like ignorant, then I was just like, why is that the only thing that they show on TV? And so it was really nice to see my culture portrayed in this way, and that I, you know, even further that I got to be a part of that. I again was like further confirmation that what I was thinking, what I was feeling, and what I wanted was like right, you know. And so yeah, it was a great opportunity, especially like seeing my family in Colombia, like see the billboards of like Encanto and stuff. That was really awesome.
Special.
Yeah, they were all really happy that that story was out there for them.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it's playing in your family's household, like, constantly.
Oh, no, I go in and it's playing and I like leave the room. I'm like,
All right. Maybe one question left. I don't know. We'll see. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Albert. I do remember that episode of The Simpsons with the Lisa tap dancing.
yeah.
I
And it
wanted
goes
to,
wrong because she gets like electric ones, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Mechanical ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask about your time on Orange is the New Black and how that show kind of evolved, because I think you were just kind of a supporting character at first, and then you had a really big major arc at the end with talking about ICE and
Yeah.
the Trump administration's immigration policies and things like that.
Right.
That's one thing I really liked about that show, is it really grew outside of just that main story.
Mhm.
What was that like for you?
Incredible. It really was. This is, you know, it was my chance to get my poli-sci into gear, and I was like, wait a minute, I've learned about this. And of course, at the time, I was like being very open about my own story and my own family struggles with the immigration system in this country, and I really, you know, kind of started to discover, oh, I have a voice, and I have something to say, and I'd like to participate with other people who care about a similar thing. And then for the show to be as present as it was and as timely as it was to tackle the issue, the subject matter of prisons for profit, and how a lot of the people that were being affected by that were people from my community, in particular my parents, and to get to talk about that in a real way on this like super popular show and widely respected show was really awesome to do. Yeah, thank you.
Well, as we conclude, is there anything that we can look forward to? What's next? Are you still
Swimming?
swimming?
Yeah, I'm just keeping on swimming.
All right.
I'm in my like creative place. I'm like just pouring it all out there and enjoying my life right now.
Well, we can't wait to see what comes up next.
Thank you.
Hey, let's thank Diane Guerrero. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Awesome Con.
Hey, this is Alex Malari Jr., and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Your Emperor commands it. Thanks for watching.